It says it's streaming live.
Let me see.
Live from the Plutopia verse. This is the Plutopia News Network, sort of happy hour. I'm the late great Scoop Sweeney. I was dead, but I have returned thanks to the healing. It didn't heal my tongue. Thanks to the healing power of Cabernet Sauvignon. Try it, folks. It'll bring you back.
All right.
The unusual suspects are here. Susie Sheeler and our resident guru, the 74-year-old perfect master, John Lebkowski. Hail, John. Hail, yes.
Okay, how is that? How is my video now?
Oh, it is darling.
Perfect.
All right. I was being castigated for my low def video, so I'm high def now, and probably low bandwidth. Who knows?
Oh,
Am I coming through okay on the network?
I'm high def, or maybe I'm just high, but I'm deaf.
I'm high and I'm deaf.
Okay.
All right. What's
Okay,
going on
well,
with you
so
guys?
here we are. Well, our subject for tonight, via William Burroughs, language is a virus from outer space. You guys are being really quiet about that.
I know, right? It's like, well, language is it's interesting that he would call it a virus. What do you suppose he meant by that?
Well, people are infected by language.
It's Burroughs.
And language spreads like a virus, and besides which, Burroughs was a little nuts.
And we have different strains, right?
He wasn't.
Well, you
got the
you
French.
suggested talking about language.
No. I'm saying no, absolutely. I'm saying so like as a virus, you could even roll off of that and say there are different strains like French or Spanish or English. I kind of like that
Absolutely.
metaphor. I think it's a good metaphor.
I'm infected just by one of those strains. It happens. But so you think I'm not sure what you were thinking about when you suggested that, but I have actually been listening to and thinking about some stuff about how our thoughts and the words that we have in our head, are basically unreal. They're just thoughts. They're just kind of things that your brain just kind of secretes thoughts. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we think that our thoughts and our words are more real than they really are because they're not very real. And that's my take on it. But what were you thinking of when you suggested that we talk about language?
I was thinking about the active changing of definitions of words that we see happening now, that we saw happen in World War II. Think also the understanding of another language, the knowledge that we do not have a national language here, and how upset that makes some folks. And just, if we continue the double speak, using euphemistic broad language that you could turn any way on. There's no straight shooters is what I guess I'm saying anymore. As far as politics seem to be concerned. So I guess
I thought our national language was bullshit.
Well, it may be.
Going on it.
But I just think that language is being abused right now. And honestly, I think the progressives are doing a lot of it. A lot of PC stuff. It's just this is how you come so far left that you circle back around to a fascistic state, just like the right. When they go too far right, they end up fascist. You you can't, it just seems like a policing of words on both sides. And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
awful. It's awful.
Well, but it's important because so there are people now who are talking about they use the word sense making, the idea of making sense of things. And you might think in your head that when somebody says, I want to make sense of this, they're saying, I want to figure out what's real about this. But making sense of something is like coming up with a narrative to explain it, not necessarily what's real, but just coming up with a narrative.
Right.
And what we have now is like battling narratives. And there is a far left and a far right that have some similar tactics and strategies. And they're very much engaged with building a narrative.
Yes.
And it's a narrative, it's an othering narrative, and it's a narrative about what, well, politically correct is one thing, or woke, which, I mean, woke was a perfectly good term until they decided to make it more about political correctness.
Well,
And the narrative there,
they
go ahead.
conflated that woke with so many other civil liberties and civil rights. It doesn't woke the real meaning of woke is almost 100% specifically for the Black community. That's where that started. Just stay woke, and it's about making sure you know where you are, when you're a Black person and who you're around and who's trustworthy, and just stay alert. And then it was
and that was totally redefined.
Yes.
And part of what they're talking about when they say woke now is they're talking about something that, from what I can gather, is mostly a thing that's happening on universities among some faculty and university people who are pretty far to the left and are insisting on, they're doing, people talk about cancel culture. They're like, they do some boycotting, and sometimes they get people fired or force them to resign or whatever. And sometimes they insist on pronouns. And, the pronoun thing is it should be optional, really. I think it's important. Like if somebody tells me they want me to call them they and not he or she, I'll do it. Absolutely do it. But I don't think that it should be considered an unpardonable sin if I fail to do it. It's just.
Well, that's another. Go ahead, Scoop. I can't hear you, Scoop. I'm sorry.
Okay,
okay, I got you.
Now we hear you.
Let me change this setting here. Is that any there? Yeah.
Yes.
I've been adjusting the microphone here. I was attacked for my use of the word disabled because I was talking about my wife, and I mentioned that she's disabled. She considers herself disabled. That's the word she uses. And this person got all up into it. No, it's differently abled or handicapped. I said, she doesn't use those words. And I've met many, many people who consider themselves disabled. And that's because that's the word they grew up with. And they get attacked by people who are.
Exactly. And the fact is.
Yeah, it's a PC police thing. And I came very close to telling that person some stuff that they probably didn't want to hear. And I came close to putting my wife on the phone with them. And she has no sense of humor for that. It's been,
well, I mean, what are they going to call it?
Time.
Do we now have to call it differently abled security? I mean, it's called disability. You get disability because you are disabled. That's all it means. It's not some horrible, horrible thing. I get the words that are hurtful, but okay. So Austin, Texas had gotten a group together to change the names of the schools around here, right? Well, they ran out. They got 2 of them changed, I think. I think that's all they got approved for. And then they wanted to change the streets, like Robert E. Lee is now whatever the hell it is, and a whole bunch of other streets. And then they didn't have anything else to change, so they tried to change the name of this city. They wanted to change the name of Austin because they didn't have anything else to do. But it's like, at what point do you say, I mean, was Stephen F. Austin someone that you don't, is he a bad person? I guess is my question.
I think he must have owned slaves. Didn't he own slaves?
Probably,
Yeah, but
probably.
considering,
I mean, I did like Waterloo better.
I did too.
but the whole thing of changing the names doesn't make the city any different. It just
Exactly.
confuses everyone. The whole deal over, the airport name. They want to do that because it was named after one of the first people to die in action.
Oh, wow.
And they wanted to make it, either, LBJ Airport or Willie Nelson Airport. It's like, come on, 100 years from now, people are going to go, who the hell are those guys?
Right. Right. Well, I mean, I understand like this. I kind of understand. Well, I do understand the streets, and I understand the like pulling down the statues and stuff. I wouldn't want to walk by a statue of, Hitler every day or Reagan, although he is out there in a statue form. I wouldn't want to walk by a statue that is honoring my oppressor. So I get that, and I get not wanting to have streets named after that. But I think they went a little far when they wanted to rename the whole town, especially Austin, who is entrenched with the University of Texas at Austin. So I don't think that was ever going to happen, but they finally disbanded them. But it's just another effort to control. It's just another, and of course, when you control speech, you control thoughts.
Well, there are a lot of people who just like to, who will actively search for a new cause because the old one has been solved and they're left causeless. So I know some of those folks, and they're just desperately searching for
Yeah.
the new banner
Well,
to wave. And it's not necessary to be waving a banner all the time. Sometimes you just need to live your life and see what, go after the really bad, things that are happening. I mean,
yeah.
wave them
Yeah.
against something, do it against evil stuff, not just, weird, disability or name of Austin or whatever, or that guy.
What a handsome fella.
Uh,
Now, why did that fool want to have his mustache like that? I've never seen anybody else do that.
Charlie Chaplin.
Oh, you're right. Is that what he was doing? Was he like copying Charlie Chaplin?
I think Charlie
vice
Chaplin
versa?
came after him. I don't really know the truth. I don't
Hmm.
know. I don't have any idea about that. I just always thought it was odd that they had the same mustache.
yeah, Chaplin was a 20
Yeah.
movie star, and he also did a really good imitation of the great dictator,
Funny.
Oh, yeah.
and really
Oh.
of the Hitlerites in this country, because they were plenty of Nazis locally, and they were trying to go after Chaplin, besmirching the name of their hero.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I would have cut it off, I think. I think I would have shaved that right off myself. It's sort of like what's his name? Roger Stone with the tattoo of Nixon. And speaking of language, he was just caught on tape saying some fairly nefarious things about killing members of Congress. And then that's another question. Okay, so at what point do we take those kinds of threats seriously enough that people do go to jail? Like, at what point, how far does Trump have to go? What does he have to say specifically that he is going to do to his opponents?
I think already said that sort of thing that really comes in the category of most people would go to jail for saying that stuff.
It seems like a threat. It seems awfully threatening.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but he's Jesus. He can do it.
Well, there's that.
I have seen two campaign videos today that basically talk about how Trump was sent by God and how he is,
I
I
sent you
guess,
one of
second
them.
only to Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
On
I
the
found
8th.
another one later.
Oh God.
The other one had John Voight on it. John Voight sitting there just making a kind of unhinged conversation about.
Can you?
I didn't know that John Voight was religious, let alone. Well, I knew
I
that he was a
didn't.
pretty right wing guy.
Yeah,
I knew he was a right wing guy, but I think he's
he-
a good actor.
Hey, before we go any further, I just want you to know that I found out why Hitler's mustache was like that.
Okay, tell.
And it's very, very odd, very interesting. Well, so he was in the trenches, right? And they had to wear gas masks because there was mustard gas being deployed in the war. He had a mustache like this, kind of a
Handlebar?
long mustache. And his gas mask wouldn't fit very well over it. So he just clipped it like that, and he left it that way. And he continued to have it that way. And I guess it actually became kind of iconic, and I guess it was like his brand eventually.
Well, I mean, don't they all have their brand? Like he, Trump's
Trump's
got his
hair,
hair, yeah, and then
Or, I
even,
mean, if you want to call that hair.
Mussolini he's got the Giuliani eyes, like always see the whites of his
And
eyes.
Giuliani's got the Mussolini eyes.
Exactly.
really like character flaws.
Yes, but back to the language thing, I always wondered why it was so important to Trump to change the name of NATO. Wasn't it NATO he changed?
Oh, was he going to? I don't remember that.
He
Was he gonna
changed
change the name
either
of NATO?
no, it's whatever is the pact between Canada, Mexico, and us.
NAFTA.
NAFTA. He got rid of NAFTA, but not really. He just renamed it.
Yeah. Well, he hates anything has to deal with or Mexico. He made that clear.
It's true. I think that I don't think there's going to be a presidential debate. Speaking of words, I don't think, because Nikki Haley says she's not going to, and I don't see why she would perform in any debate or take part in any debate unless one of the other two did, and they've both said they're not going to. So I think this will be the
Both?
first time.
Who are the other two?
Biden and Trump.
DeSantis is out.
No, Biden and
Well,
Trump.
Nikki Haley wouldn't be debating them. She's
All I'm
running against
saying is
Trump,
that-
not Biden.
No, but all I'm saying is that she said that unless one of the two of them were involved with a debate, she was out. So even if that meant like Trump falls out and Biden doesn't want to debate, that's fine.
I would be surprised if there was a debate between Trump and Biden, because Trump really doesn't want. One of the main reasons he doesn't want to do a debate with anyone is because they're going to bring up his history and they're going to quote his quotes and recite his convictions and indictments and all that stuff. And
I don't know.
having to answer that.
I think he wants
Well, he's
to.
also, but he's having cognitive issues too.
I think he wants to do it. I think he wants to go up there, throw it at me. I can
He does
handle
like to
it.
get out in front of
He's
people.
an egomaniac, man. Of course he wants to go
Well,
out.
you remember how the last debates were, where he was
A shark.
completely uncouth. He just would talk over Biden. I mean, basically, his strategy was to prevent Biden from getting a word out.
Yep.
They could not shut him up. The person who was moderating the debate couldn't do it. If they're going to have a debate, it needs to be, the moderator should be like Dwayne Johnson or something. Somebody who can just walk over there and grab him by the neck and,
That would be nice. Or
shake
just
him. Shake
have
him.
a decent mute button. I don't know. It was bad last time. And the time before that was really awful because it was with Hillary, and It was so menacing. He was so menacing. Um, just walking behind her, real slowly while
He
she was
still is. He
talking.
still is. That's what they like
Just
about
like,
him.
oh my God, he's terrifying. He's a horrible, horrible person. But we already know that. So the fact, though, that we can't, okay, so here's one of my issues is that we can no longer engage in conversation, even with people who we are aligned with very closely in most ways. For example, and I don't really want to get into it, but for example, the trans situation, I am not allowed in my community to bring up a feeling that I might have that may not go along with everyone else's feeling without being shut down. And so, if my own community is going to shut me down for wanting to discuss this, what do you think the other side is going to do to them when they want to discuss? I mean, it's just
What
if
is
you
it you
want.
want to discuss?
Well, I have some questions and some study. The trans issue is the example I'm using, and I am what I would call a bit of, what did Stephanie say, apostate a little bit as far as my community is concerned. And I think it's horrible that I can't talk to them without being called names, and shut
Do you
down and
have
canceled.
do, do you have issues with trans people or?
Not at all. Not at all. But I don't believe that
Well,
trans women,
I'm not understanding
I don't believe
what
that
the
trans
trans.
women are women.
Oh, interesting.
I believe that trans women are trans women. And I don't think it's fair to either of us for them to for trans people, women, to kind of use our history. They have their own history. It's very rich, and it's, my Lord, it's fascinating. But you're a trans woman, which is why we have a T in the LGBTQ, because you're a trans woman. You're not a woman, you're a trans
Well, I'll
woman.
tell you what I think. What I think the real problem is here is this whole like being hung up about gender roles and gender identity because you are not your gender, you know.
Right.
I mean, we all have like we're born a certain way, and some people decide that's not really the way that they feel like they are, and they change it and so forth.
Right.
But when
And
we get
that's,
too hung up in this, we stop seeing the people as the people who they are, and we just start saying, "This is a trans person. This is an
but that's,
LGBTQ person. This is like
well,
this
that's
person is
already
gay, and that
happening
person is."
that's already happening. I mean, we're women, these people are women, these people, I mean, that's already happening. I think that
I know. Well, and what I'm saying is that part of the discussion should be to say, why do we even have to? How are we going to use these roles? Why is that particular kind of role definition
that is an
important?
excellent question. And I think that it's constructs that we've built, from
Yeah, socially
from
constructed.
way, way, way back, going forwards. Even in the 70s and 80s and early 90s, I guess it was, if you were a single mother, you were still kind of frowned upon in smaller towns and stuff,
Yeah.
Um, and words matter. Words really matter when it comes down to talking about women and trans women. We don't use the same, we don't have the same history, so we don't have the same shared history. Does that make
It's just
sense?
there's all this implies a judgment, It's like you're
Oh, I'm not
judging people, and we do
no,
use our
no,
judgment, and we do have discretion about things.
no,
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 but
wait a
it's an
minute.
inherent human thing.
I'm not
No, I'm not
judging
saying you're being judgmental.
anyone.
I'm not saying that. I'm
Mm,
saying that it's inherent in the identity thing is that we have a kind of a judgment that we make. No, I'm not meaning judgment in the
no, okay, I get it. And
bad worst sense of it, but just that you make an assessment of somebody based on that, And you know, we've interviewed Sandy Stone here before, and
I,
she's been a good friend of mine.
I see now this is
And
exactly what I'm
Sandy,
talking about. This is
well, I would say
exactly what I'm
Sandy
talking
is a
about.
trans woman. Sandy is a trans
Uh-huh.
woman, but I don't think of her as a man, a woman, a trans woman. I don't think of her as any of those things. I just think of her as Sandy, you know?
Yeah,
And I kind of think that's kind of the, oh, go ahead. I'll shut
that's
up.
kind of the way I approach, my relationships with any people. I was raised, around my Choctaw grandmother a lot, and she imparted a lot of wisdom to me that, I didn't know what it all meant at the time, but as I got older, I understood what she was saying, and she only looked at people as she called them human beings, and that's the way a lot of the Choctaw referred to themselves as human beings. They were not Indians. They'd never been to India. They were Choctaw. They were human beings, and we were human beings. And I just look at, I don't think of Susie as my gay friend. I think of Susie as my friend, and I just try not to put people into a box. They're all good people, unless they're Donald Trump, and I put him in a box. I hope someone
Well,
does.
but well, and that's fantastic. We put ourselves in boxes. It's called the LGBTQ community. We've boxed ourselves.
Yeah.
And not only have we boxed ourselves, but we then split ourselves. No longer the gay community, we are the LGBTQ community, and you better include my letter. And that to me is divisive. I don't think that's under the umbrella of queer. I think we should all, it divides us further and further. And as far as the woman and judgmental thing, I am not judging anyone. I don't want to sound trite.
Yeah, and I didn't mean to imply
Love
that you were.
trans
I mean,
people.
that's not what I was
Are
talking about.
awesome. I will call anyone what they want me to call them. And if I misgender them, then I'm apologetic. It's nothing like that. I'm just saying that we're not the same. And that's just a fact, biological fact. And gene expressions are different than the sex part. So, I mean, you could have a very effeminate man who is a man who has feminine gene expressions. That doesn't mean he's more of a woman. You know what I mean? And the biology aside, look, I'm not a biologist. I don't know this. It just it I don't understand why, because they seem so proud to be trans women, why they don't want to be trans women that and embrace their own history and their own um mythology, they have something very unique that no one else has ever done. I mean, women
Yeah.
and men, we've been doing this for fucking ever. They need to find their mythology because it's probably unbelievably fascinating. And I would love to see that. You don't need us, you know, I just wish that there was a confidence there that said, and they say they have the confidence, but I don't see them lifting up and saying, this is our mythology. These are who our goddesses were back then. This is who, was in charge of, because it's very well known that there are many intersex, I think is what they're calling them now, intersex
Yeah.
uh gods and goddesses. It's out there. And I have nothing against anybody, well, Republicans, but it's not, but I am able to talk to you guys. Whereas if I were having a conversation with people on my side, they would turn me away and say that they would cut me off, they wouldn't let me finish. And I don't think we're going to ever get to any kind of coalescing on these ideas if we can't even talk about them.
Well, part of it could be that there's just such a sensitivity around that because, there's an existential concern now that people have if they're trans, because there are people out there who want to like outlaw them, make their thing a
That's
not okay thing, and make it against the law. And
that's
that may
bullshit.
be one reason that they're so like sensitive about it and concerned about it.
I would fight to the death for their rights to exist and to be who they
Right.
want to be. Shit, man. I put together 2 marches and went to the bathroom bill. I was stood there for 20 hours waiting to testify. It has nothing to do with that. I at
I
all.
thought you were going to say you stood there for 20 hours waiting to go to the
To use the
bathroom.
bathroom.
Well, I would imagine that was probably involved there.
It was a trip. It was a trip to be around everybody and have that unity, And that's what I love about our community, but really, honest to God, we are dividing ourselves just by adding more letters, more stripes to the rainbow.
Yeah, I saw that happening, way back in the day when there was the movement, the New Left, and
Right.
it was a multicultural, multicolored, a lot of colors in there, and it was just the New Left, and then people started realizing that that was a way to have power, so they wanted to have their own little chunk of the New Left that they want to pull off to the side and say, "Oh, well, we're these guys or girls,
Right.
or whatever," and it went on and on. We saw the African American bloc became, Black Power, which
Hmm.
is fine. We all supported that,
Yeah.
but as these things progressed, uh, the power of having a big thing called the New Left disappeared. It
Yes.
dissolved into many different uh, new whatevers.
And isn't that, I mean, it doesn't, okay, so if we could bring all of those people together, all of us who just want to be treated equally,
Mhm.
if we could all get together and vote for all of us to be treated equally, that would be great. But the problem is, some of these people want to be treated, as George Orwell said, more equally than others.
Mhm.
So, I
And
mean,
Yeah.
some of these people are making a lot of money off of their little kingdom, and it's kind of hard. It's like trying to get all the evangelical mega pastors to, give up their mansions and their corporate jets, because that really wasn't what that religion was supposed to be about.
and that's
but
another
they're
completely
not going to give that
distortion
up.
of language. It's completely distorted. Uh, I don't know. I mean, we just have to rely on whoever translated the Bible, right? What if that's not right?
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the meme that I posted last week. I guess it was. It was a photo from a Marx Brothers movie of the woman saying,
Oh,
"I
yes.
believe that Donald J. Trump was sent from God," and Groucho says, "What did he run out of locusts?" And,
Locusts.
and that pretty much sums it up. It's like this, this was the God, that sent, locusts and frogs and
Well,
fire from brimstone.
he's the man who's redefining the language.
Mhm.
What did he call? He said the other day that he was going to debank somebody. I still don't know what that means.
Bank.
Debank. He said it like 4 times that they try to debank you. They wanted to debank us. And but it's also, we just sound so, if he is the mouthpiece for our country, we sound so stupid.
Oh yeah, it's the party of stupid, and it just gets dumber by the minute. We've got the almighty convoy passing through the area today. They're down in,
All
my,
26
all,
of them.
Yeah, my poor friends in Dripping Springs are having to deal with that. There's like, oh boy, there goes the neighborhood for sure. And of course everyone's jumping on the bandwagon. And immediately all the country singers down there and all the politicians like, yeah, we're going to get in the convoy and ride. And, oh God, we all saw how that worked out in the Trump trade disaster,
Oh.
and you could expect
Well,
the same kind of behavior.
the story I heard about it was that it was a big mess, basically, and that it
Yeah, I
wasn't
heard
working out the way
they had way fewer than they thought they were going to, but like take
right.
tens of thousands less.
Yeah, it was
No
nothing like
trucks, no trucks at all.
well, the truckers don't do that. Remember, we did our podcast recently, dealt with the change in trucking, and all
Yeah.
those almighty truckers who can do anything because they're a trucker. Those guys are pretty much gone because it's been automated, and they're on GPS tracking. They have the central computer telling them where to go and when to go. And the independent truckers are few and far between because the money that used to be there, these guys used to make $130,000, $150,000 a year. Now they're making $30,000 or $40,000 a year.
Oh my gosh.
So
That's
these guys have the old school guys they've gone elsewhere.
I bet.
They're
God.
yeah.
Um
Truckers are too busy to play at political games.
Yeah, and that's all that was a game. It's a way of it's basically dick measuring. It's like, yeah, I'm a measure. It's like it's whatever.
yeah, that's fun. That's fun.
I
Okay,
did
just go ahead.
I did think about it. If we weren't doing this, I might have gone to that rally tonight just to see what they were doing.
I'm glad you
A
did.
pep rally. They called it a pep rally.
Oh, probably. Wow.
I'd be afraid you
We could have
get stuck
broadcast
somewhere.
from there.
You know what? I found something really interesting out about the watermelon emoji. Did I tell you guys this?
Nope.
No.
It's used to if you see it and you see a whole bunch of it, like a watermelon, it's pro-Palestinian
Hmm.
Huh.
because it's the
Where did that
same
come
colors
from?
as
Oh,
it
the
was on the
color.
internet. Yeah, the colors are the same as the flag.
Okay.
Oh.
So just a heads up to either be careful or be free. Do what you want to do. I heard
Red,
I
green,
just
black, and white.
Mm-hmm.
Well, John, you said
Yeah.
Weird.
you wanted to broadcast live from the. We need to do that because one of the most fun I had back at KPFT is I got to broadcast from the Texas Republican Party convention in Houston, and Spiro Agnew was the star lecturer. That's before he got sent off to jail, and
You know that I
When you
interviewed
talk about
Spiro
having-
Agnew one time. I interviewed him when I was working for I was on the college paper out in Odessa,
Mhm.
and they sent me to interview Spiro Agnew.
Wow.
He wasn't much fun.
Yeah, well, the Republican Party isn't much fun. They weren't then. Talk about having an entourage. I had an entourage of Republican geeks just following me and my crew around, and we looked like the New Left, and then they knew we were from KPFT, the communist radio station. That's exactly how
You
they
were an
described
effete
it.
core of impudent snobs.
Yeah, and we wired up. We were going to broadcast it live.
Wow.
We got the permission from the hotel there to run cable. We had it all set up. I had a mixer there, and we were going to let Spiro, talk to the masses there on the communist radio station.
Wow.
Before he got on, the goon squad from the Republican National Committee came in and ripped all of our cabling out, threw it in a big pile by my mixer that I had
Oh
set
my
up.
Lord.
So I ended up doing just a live rant and interview with the guy that was trying to explain why they did it, and he had no good explanation other than we didn't want you guys doing that.
Yeah, we didn't want him on
Yeah,
your stay,
I was
especially
just, I was,
KPFT. Oh my
yeah, I
God.
was just because we did that sort of thing. We broadcast all the city council meetings live,
Yeah.
and we didn't do commentary. I was just going to let it go because just his words. I did get a tape recording, which I still have in the in the archive here of his speech, and I didn't need to comment because it was so bonkers that
Really?
it,
Like in what do you mean bonkers? What kind of things was it like
he was a,
Trump?
well, yeah, he wasn't quite as bad as Trump, but bad enough. Like he was going on making jokes about all the hippies. The hippies are here tonight, and it's like, okay,
Good
whatever.
God.
And it was, he made some
That's
joke about Abby Hoffman and Jerry Rubin, and from the Yippies, and
it's always
it
this.
was so corny and such a bomb. Even his own audience, like, what?
Oh man.
He was such an idiot that you didn't need to make commentary. Just let him go on, and he knew right away what a fool this guy was.
So oh, as as far as the defamation goes for E. Jean Carroll, will he
Mhm.
will he be able to stop from saying anything?
Oh, of course not.
How many days are we giving it before she says he does the thing that makes her sue him again?
He has the power to remain silent. Just, I mean, he has a right to remain silent, but he just doesn't have the ability.
That is just so sad that he can't control himself. I mean, uh,
Oh, I don't know. Just let him go.
but
Yeah.
what is it? What is it that makes him like this? And is he really like Stalin or Lenin? Because they seem to have some kind of brain,
Yeah,
they actually
gravity.
Well,
He's
he-
not a serious person, you know?
his first wife claimed that he had, Mein Kampf, a translated version in his bedside,
he wouldn't
reading
have.
stand there,
Do
and
you think he could
he
have
would read it.
comprehended it? Do you really think that he has reading comprehension levels like that?
He may have. I think all the years of doing cocaine at Studio 54 really fried his little tiny brain anyway.
Did you see the list of drugs that Dr. Ronnie had been authorizing? Fentanyl, fucking fentanyl. After
Wait a minute. Where was this?
oh, it was released I think it was in New York Times. Just type in drug lists. I think Dr. Ronnie was one of them for Congress. It's congressional doctor drug list thing, I think.
Wow.
Do you see it?
I had no idea. I don't know. Let me see.
Oh, Trump era
Are we
White
sure
House.
this is real?
Yeah, the you see the picture of the written all the stuff written? Yeah, that's real.
No, I don't.
Yeah,
What
this
is
is
it?
from USA Today here. It said, let's see, diversion of controlled
Trump drug
substances.
list. Wait, did we get a link or something, or how do we get there?
Hold on, I'm finding it. 4 days ago. It's from Reuters.
I'm
Improperly.
trying to find the actual
Were
list.
those all to him though, or were those just to various people
No,
there?
no, they were to various people.
Got
He would
Oh,
come
okay.
by and say, "Do you need anything to pick you up or anything like that?"
Yeah,
So
fentanyl, morphine, hydrocodone, and
Oh,
there it
oxycodone
is.
were held in the same inventory as any other medication. And that is a big no-no in hospitals because you do not
well, it wasn't a real
get
pharmacy.
the schedule to, well,
They were
they
scheduled two drugs, and I mean, you fentanyl? Are you fucking
fentanyl,
kidding
morphine,
me?
hydrocodone, and oxy. I mean, it's like the Rush Limbaugh cocktail.
Oh, and Provigil. Provigil's the big one. Provigil's the one that he's snorting,
Oh,
apparently.
good.
It's like it's a what did you guys used to call him back in the day? Bennies. the reds, the red ones.
Yeah.
What did you guys call this?
Benzodrine, yeah.
Yeah, this is
Benzodrine and dexedrine.
that's why he's so fucking crazy and all the
I,
time. He was
I didn't need to know that to know he's crazy, but that just kind of adds fuel to the fire.
man, it's nuts. It's nuts all the drugs that guy I guess was handing out. I don't know. He's a congressman now in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And he said he's one of the ones who said, I'm not voting for this border bill.
But
Was it Chip Roy?
No, Chip Roy has not said that. But no, wait, there are a total of 4.
I thought
Dr.
Chip Roy said that.
Ronnie, Chip Roy. I thought it was someone else who said it, but you might be right. You're probably right.
Well,
It wouldn't surprise
John
me.
Cornyn had drank the Kool-Aid because he's a total Trumper now, which didn't really surprise me.
He's such a
He goes whichever way
non-person.
the wind blows. It's like, it's going east. Okay, I'm going east.
He's like transparent. Like, what does he do?
Collects a whole lot of money and helps a lot of rich folks get what they don't necessarily need, but what they want. He's famous or infamous for that, getting all those little
Yeah.
special things added to a bill.
I want to be a city council member, but
Yeah.
I don't, it's too much work.
Yeah. When I first moved out here from the Bay Area, I started, looking up, Thorne Dryard to see what he was up to. And he was ranting about John Corndog. And he was calling him Senator Corndog, and several other tasteless words. But
That's awesome.
when I saw that, it's like, well, I got to keep an eye on this guy. And sure enough, I mean, he's just like the flu. He just keeps coming back every year.
I gotta tell you, with these nicknames and stuff that Trump's into, and the misogyny that he holds, I'm trying to gird myself for the misogyny that's going to come out and what the things he's going to say about her. I hope that Republican women pay attention and understand. But they're pick-me girls, so they don't think they're talking to them, right? They're just talking to those progressive girls, not us.
Well, the moms for Trump, or moms for liberty types, they love that. It's like these are the folks that I guess they didn't get into the cheerleader squad or something, or didn't get, or maybe they were in the cheerleader
They
squad.
didn't get to sit at the cool kids table.
Yeah, or they got, who knows? But there's a lot of folks out there who it just puzzle me why they are so into the Trump train.
I know you can't. There's no logic. There's no logic. I don't. I mean,
I love the people
I understand
at the rallies that have the Blacks for Trump T-shirts on, and they don't really look that dark.
they're getting paid.
And then there's the African Americans who are there wearing the Blacks for Trump T-shirts, but they're kind of looking at the guy next to him who looks like he's Ronnie Jr. from Des Moines,
Yeah, and he's
who's
got
never been in the neighborhood.
He's got a white sheet in his truck.
Yeah. But
Are you really having trouble understanding?
Who?
I mean, it's just like trying to understand why anybody would go to a Kid Rock concert.
Well, no. You know what? I got dragged to a fucking Kid Rock concert once, so that doesn't mean I enjoyed myself. That didn't, but I did. I have been exposed to something enough to know that I never want to be exposed to it again.
Yes, I
don't know. I might like to go to a Trump rally. I'd kind of like to see how all that stuff goes. I have a feeling that there's not as much to it as
there's never anybody there anymore,
as appears to be. Yeah, I don't think he has a huge following.
Well, what's happened to
I don't really understand why the Republicans are so completely behind him, because he's going to be a disaster for the party.
Well, here's
he's just going to be a disaster.
So we're open primaries in this state. So I'm going to go vote for Nikki Haley. And then in the general election, I will vote for Biden because I know that if Biden loses, at least I will have voted for someone who will follow the rules.
Mhm.
That's really all I want, is someone who's going to follow the law.
Or is at least a little more likely to. So,
I think so.
Scoop, were you about to say something about Taylor Swift? Because I was
No,
just thinking about Taylor
no,
Swift.
I was in the audience of a, I hate to confess this, a Ted Nugent concert. That was back when
Oh, Ted Nugent.
that's when he actually had a hit record.
Cat scratch fever.
And I was just, I was there as a critic. I was supposed to be reviewing the concerts, and I was like, this guy really sucks. Why is he selling all these records? And I had a friend that was with one of the record labels, and I asked her, and he said, no one knows. I don't. I'm not sure who he has something on, but he,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
he wasn't
He did
exactly
one really good record,
Cat
one
Scratch
decent
Fever.
cut. No. I'm thinking about Journey to the Center of the Mind when he was with
Right.
the Amboy Dukes.
Yeah, the Amboy Dukes were different. Yeah, it wasn't a total Ted production. Even though he was.
Yeah, and that was a pretty good song.
Yeah, well,
But
classic. But when he became, Cat Scratch Fever guy, it's like, well, scratch him off.
Yeah. Well, yeah. When he
so I
married
thought you were
a
gonna.
13-year-old, I was kind of grossed out.
But heard
Oh
from
my gosh, I didn't know that. He's trying to
Yeah.
follow in Jerry Lee Lewis's footsteps.
He won. Yep. That's what it was.
I think before we come to the end of our night, we really should talk about Taylor Swift.
I love her. I love her. I will buy all of her albums. I won't listen to any of them, but I will buy them.
yeah, she's not my taste, but what she's doing, that's to my taste.
I love it.
People who are uh, who just don't give a shit about what all those critics from the right are saying. It's like, get over it.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Well, think
She's just
about this. They're going after her now.
oh, they're
Now
terrified
think
of
about that.
her.
And she's going to go.
Well, what is that going? How is that going to play out for them?
Oh, badly.
I mean,
Poorly.
how can they possibly believe that it's a good idea to go after Taylor Swift?
I don't know, but Donald has said that he is more popular than Taylor Swift. So this is now an ego situation for him. She doesn't care.
It's a generation gap thing too.
Yeah.
A lot of teenage Taylor fans who are going to be assaulting their parents, like, why are you backing that idiot? He's being mean to Taylor. And it's like,
Yep.
in a family situation, that can carry some weight, especially if they're noisy and belligerent. It can make their lives hell.
As long as, I mean, she's activated it was something like 36 million voters last in 2020.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so, I mean,
She's got Kelsey behind her too, so
Yep.
that's a double whammy there. He'll get all the jocks, to march and
Not Aaron Rodgers, but
well,
yeah,
but anyway.
yeah. I think she is. It's so bizarre because all of the people I think of who are in a position to really make a difference in America are women right now. So I just like the Fani, the DA, Fani Willis, Judge Chutkin, who's the other? There's another one that's on his team. I mean, who's after him, and I can't remember her name. And Alina Habba's gone. Hey,
She's gone. Where'd she go?
he's looking for a new lawyer
Did
because
she get fired?
I just don't know if that's the truth. I just know that he's looking for new lawyers.
He's constantly,
I
because
thought she was more than just a lawyer for him,
I
though.
think she is.
time he goes into court, his lawyers usually are going, oh God, they're updating their resumes and looking for new clients because
Yeah.
he does not well with his own
She
attorney.
was a true believer, though.
Well, yeah, I think so. She is continuing to, this thing about the E. Jean Carroll. She just kept saying, we're not allowed to bring our evidence. We're not allowed to bring our evidence. Well, that's because she doesn't know how to do her job. She didn't file correctly to put evidence in. But what evidence? I mean, he's all over Twitter. He's all on every TV station you can see defaming her again. It was just another monetary decision. And she's talking about it as though this is a question of guilt or not. He's already guilty.
Yeah, he can't contest that, lost.
No.
Yeah, that train already left the station. So
But she was acting like this was some kind of major trial where she could flip the decision. And it wasn't even that kind of trial. She just was so inept. It was
trial.
horribly inept. And you get what you pay for, right?
Hey.
Or don't pay for, I guess.
But yeah.
Well, I mean, I suspect that she was not charging as much as a normal lawyer would.
She's put in something like $10 million because she's trying to show how much money he's already paying or some shit. I don't know.
Oh, she gets stiffed anyway. She can join the queue of lawyers that are going, where's my money? Because he's not real good.
Yeah.
Good at hiring, not good at paying.
Well, I think that maybe we should what do you guys think about the next show? Should we tease a little next show? What are you guys thinking you want to talk about next time? I know Toby's coming on, and that's exciting, but I don't think that's for
that's
another
going
couple
to be
of
a few weeks.
Yeah. Have we got anyone else we can tell coming up?
Well, no, not really. We don't have anybody scheduled for this, but I'm just thinking about this. So we could. So the next show is our last show before Valentine's Day.
Right.
So we can talk about romance.
Well, maybe y'all could get your Valentines to come on.
Mm-hmm.
That would be kind of fun.
That's possible.
Yeah, why don't we do that? That would be kind of fun. And talk about how you guys have made it work for so long, because fellas, I can't do it. So I think it would be very interesting. Especially, I love your story, John, about how you met Marcia and how you slept on her couch. That's such a great story. And
I actually thought of another story today that I wanted to tell tonight, and I nearly forgot about it. It kind of doesn't fit what we were talking about, though. And we've only got 1 minute, but let me just real quickly tell you.
Okay.
When Marcia and I were thinking about getting married, I decided to throw the I Ching.
Oh.
And I threw the coins, and what I got was marrying maiden. To take a maiden as wife means good fortune. She wasn't exactly a maiden, but that's, So there you are. I mean, the I Ching works.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
We got married, and we've been married for 50 years.
See? And then, Scoop, I would love to hear your story too with Clarissa, if she would mind being on for a little while. Maybe I can just question y'all on your fantastic relationships and how you've made it last for so long. I think I don't know very many people who've done that, honestly.
Yeah, we're coming up on about 40 years worth of being around. And
all right, let's interview y'all and learn from you. I would love to do that.
All righty.
Well, we'll try to do that. All right. Well, we'll see if we can get them to agree to it.
Well, I'll talk to them.
All right.
Love y'all.
All right.
Later, Taylor.
Love you too. We'll see ya.
Hey.
Bye.